everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we're here again with part 4 of this colour along in Anastasia Koldareva's Amarantine. I have tried to switch my light source up today, so instead of being on the right hand side of me, it's sort of coming from the front over, so hopefully we've got a bit of a better light going on today. But today we're going to try and fill in some of this background, because I think when you've got such an open background it can seem so daunting. It's only when you get that background coloured in that you can see that, yeah, there's not really that much left to colour. So we are going to use, I thought we would go for yellow tones for the background on this one, just very subtly. So I'm going to base all the background, so all behind, all the leaves, all the background within this circle, I'm going to base with a very light layer of the dark cadmium yellow 108. So I'm going to start it off on camera, regular time, and then I am going to speed it up, because all we're doing is just a light layer. We're not doing any shading with this pencil, we're just filling in that background, and I don't want it to take up the whole of this video, me just colouring in the background. So you'll be able to pause the video while you colour it, and then come back to the part where we're going to put in a little tiny bit of shading. So for the shading I will come back to real time, and I'll be going in with a light yellow ochre 183, but it will be in real time, that bit, so don't worry, you won't be missing any of the shading parts out. So just to start off with, we are going to go in light layer all over the background. Don't worry about it being too perfect, it can be quite rough. Like I said, we're going to go in with some shading with the other pencil, and of course if you need to use a blending pencil at the end, you can use a blending pencil. A good blending pencil for a really large area is definitely the Caran d'Ache full blender for me. Definitely if you're doing a larger area, this gets the job done really quickly. I'm not sure if them style of full blenders are still available on Amazon, but I will have a little look. So you can see here that we are just going in with a light layer, and I'm going to continue this over the whole of the page. So now I'm going to time lapse it, and then when we come back we'll put in the shading with light yellow ochre. See you soon. Welcome back. So now that you've done a full coverage of the dark cadmium yellow 108, we're going to go in with a little bit of shading now. You have to apologise for my throat, COVID throat. I think it's gone now, but I've still got that little niggle in the back of my throat, which is annoying. So we're going to put in some bits of shading now. Just going to give this little pencil a little sharpen. So we're going to use this light yellow ochre 183, and I'm going to use this around sort of where there's an object or close to the face. I'm going to put in a little bits of shading dotted around. So pull her in a little bit and we'll start near the face. So just a medium pressure, you're not even going in with a hard pressure. Just a medium-ish pressure, putting some of that colour down. Can you see the pigment? The difference in colour? So putting some of that down with a medium pressure all around the edges of our little lady. And then as you pull it towards the edges, just ease off the pressure into a light pressure, then you're blending it into that other colour. And then don't worry if it's not perfectly, if you don't think it's smooth, because we're going to go over this with a blending pencil at some point. If you need to slow the video down or pause the video, feel free to do so. So it's quite fiddly around here to know what's leaves, what's little bits of jewels dangling down. But the thing with the colour that we're using is that if you do go over any of that, it's not going to be too detrimental, because I think we're going to go in with quite vibrant colours on these beads. Not quite decided what colours we'll go for yet, but it's going to be some sort of reds, oranges, something along those lines. So just bring you down where I go around the top of the hair. Now you might want to be careful around here. Oh, there's frog in my throat. You might want to be careful around the hairline, because black is one of them colours where it does smudge out. So if I catch a bit of that black by accident, it's going to go into my yellows very easily. It's very easy to do that. Has anyone else had COVID recently and been left with this frog in the throat? It just won't, it won't budge. It's not painful or anything, it's just, it's not great for when I'm trying to talk, is it? So really pulling that colour towards the edges. So I'm just going to turn the boot round. I know people don't like it when we turn pages, etc. But I cannot. I'm one of them people, I cannot keep the boot the same way when I'm trying to do it. I just can't. You've got to have your hand in a comfortable position to get a nice blend on things, I think. Yeah, hopefully you won't mind a bit of buck spinach. So I'm still going round all the edges of her face, just to put some lovely shading in there. It just gives it a nicer feel. Gives it some depth, doesn't it, when you add a bit of shading, even if it's just a little bit. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I find as well the lighter colours that you use are more forgiving. Like if I used a really dark colour on this background, you would see every little bit of imperfection. But with such a light colour, it is more forgiving. You can be a bit more rough around the edges, so to speak. Again, if you're someone who likes texture, you might not want to blend this. You might just want to keep that texture in. I think sometimes we can be too het up on getting everything to look so smooth all the time, when in reality, things have texture to them. Things have texture. Shadows, if you look at shadows, they're not smooth. You know, sometimes they are, but you know, they're not smooth, they're not perfectly formed. I'm going to put darkness all in this little gap here. Now the leaves are going to be really easy when we come to the leaves. I'm only going to use 2 colours for the leaves. a light shade of green and a slightly darker shade of green. And it's going to be so easy, guys, so easy. We're not going to make it complicated. So that's around the top of the head. We're going to go underneath now. So all underneath here. And I hope people who have been colouring along with this. It was requested of me. And I don't do that many colour alongs because they do take up a lot of time. If you think about the way that we have to film a colour along, we cannot do anything off camera. It all has to be done on camera. So how you might go and make your tea and then sit down for a half an hour and maybe decide, oh, I'll just go and do her eyebrows, or I'll just go and do her eyes on that page. I can't do that because it's got to be, everything's got to be filmed. So it's making sure I've got an hour to film an hour's worth of the colour along, and then I can't touch it in between because obviously it's all got to be filmed. You all want to see what I'm doing and what colours I'm using. So it is time consuming. So if people aren't colouring along, it's a lot of my time. So I'd like to know your thoughts. If anyone has coloured along, please let me know that you've coloured along. Because I don't think it's going to be something I'm going to do on a regular basis. Unless there is a high proportion of people who want to colour along with it. So just putting a bit of shading into some of these corners and then blending it out to the edges. Just the same as what we did around the face. But this is around some of the tree edge. What sort of branches is that? Bamboo? Because I've been struggling to know what colour to do those. I don't know if it's bamboo. Bamboo canes, shoots. Who knows? I don't know. Yeah. I'm gonna go in here on the back of the neck where I've missed. Totally went off on one over that side of the page there then. But I really do think this sort of pale background, I do really think it complements, you know, this lady. And then all our beads are going to stand out really nicely, whatever colour we decide to do those. You can sort of do them any colour with this background. So are we still in frame? I don't want to go out of frame. I'm going to go above the shoulder now with some shading. I'm actually getting a really nice texture on the page from this. It's actually give it a really nice textured appearance. So down this bottom corner, and then I'm going to take a step back and have a look if there's anywhere else I want to put in a bit of shading. I think I have made a boo-boo. It doesn't matter because we can go over it, but I think this bamboo cane down here, I've gone over it as background there. That little bit shouldn't be. That's part of the thing. Not to worry. Not to worry. But yeah, I'm going to go around this bottom corner now. Some shading down there. So who else would tackle a page like this with pencil? Or would you use a different medium for a background like this? I'll be honest, I would normally tackle it with an acrylic paint or a well, not watercolour in this book. I would either tackle it with an acrylic paint or a soft pastel. Because this book doesn't particularly like water. So watercolours no for me in this book. But that's what I would normally do. I normally wouldn't do an all pencil background. So it's been quite nice to do this one with pencil. But it's time consuming. When you go in with soft pastel, it's so quick. So quick and so easy. It's almost, you know, you think, why would I ever do it in pencil? Sort of thing. If you can hear children in a minute, they are still home. Hopefully they'll not start bickering again. Right, so there we go. I'm going to zoom out a little bit just so we can get more of the backgrounding frame here. So I'm going to take a step back and have a little look. Now to me, I want to get a bit more shading around these leaves here. So I'm just going to go in to little random areas in between the leaves and just pull out a bit of shadow. Because you would have a bit of shadowing under the leaves where the leaves are laying. So I'm just going to get a bit of that in and blend it out. See how that's so much nicer? I mean, you could do so much with the backgrounds, you can put in so much shading, but I like to keep it a bit more simpler. So I think that's where I want to be there with that shading. Perhaps make it a little bit dark around here. And then I'm going to do a bit more shading around these leaves, just in the corner. Let me turn you around. So just as we did on the other side, just a bit of shading around where the leaves would be laying. These two colours do merge really nicely together. You can hear my kids. Oh dear. They're obsessed with Roblox. Anybody else? Kids, grandkids obsessed with the game Roblox? So you can see I've just randomly put bits of shadowing in against all the objects on the page, more or less. Seems like a road sweeper going past. Cleaning up the road. Yeah. I'm going to leave it at that because I think I could fiddle and fiddle and fiddle. Now, I quite like the texture in that, so I'm going to leave the texture in. If you don't like the texture, you can pause this video at this point and you can get your favourite blending pencil or a full blender and you can go over the whole thing. That's entirely your choice. I'm going to leave that up to you. So, I'm now going to pick some colours out for the leaves and I'll be right back. Welcome back. So I've got our colours now. Like I promised, we're only going to use 2 colours for these leaves. So we are going to go in with a base colour of May Green 170. Don't know if that's going to show up very well. And then we're going to go in with the darker Chromium Green Opaque 174. So firstly, your lighter pencil, get your May Green. I'll zoom you in on this section of leaves here first. We'll do these ones. Let me just... That's pencil shavings on my page. So, base all the leaves. Very easy, very light layer. Base them all. Now, I like to do simple leaves. Occasionally, I do some which are a bit more tricky with sort of 3-4 colours, but it's very rare. I tend to only do that in the ones in the Draw a Lovely You colouring book. Which has the reference picture on the other side, so I sort of copy the colours from the other side of the page that's already been coloured, and that's when I use the more you know, biggish range of colours. But in general terms, when I'm just doing leaves myself, it's 2 colours. It's 2 colours. Why would you want to make it complicated, guys? If you can hear kids shouting, they're very rowdy. I can't, there's no quietening kids down, is there? You've either got very loud ones or very quiet children, and I've been blessed with the very loud ones. They'll shout over each other as well when they're playing that game, because they're like, come here, no, come in my house, don't do this, do that. And I've got one little girl who's very controlling and she wants them to do it exactly how she wants it to be done. And if you hear any loud shouting, that's who it'll be. I don't need to guess who it is, I know who it is. So there we go, very easy, light layer. Now you're going to go in with Chromium Green Opaque. I'm going to get you in a bit closer so you can see what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start off at the biggest part of the leaf with a hard pressure. I use small circular motions, and then as I bring it down, I release a bit more, and I carry on releasing until it goes into a smooth blend. So you can see it's transitioned, and then I go back in with the May Green. So I go back in with the original colour. So May Green 170. And where you can see the colour just tailoring off, I'm going to go in with this May Green. And then I'm going to do the same where I'm easing off the pressure and easing off the pressure towards the end. So we've sort of got a bit of a whitish tip on there. Let me just Get rid of that pencil dust. So we've sort of got a whitish tip on there. Then sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes what I like to do is I like to get the darkest pencil back and see how we've got that sort of line running down the leaf. I do sometimes just go over the top ever so slightly so that we're not losing that line, to make sure your pencil's really sharp though. But that's pretty much it. Again, if you want to blend, I like to blend with my white pencil for these. But you can blend with an ivory as well. So this is white 101, and just a little bit, barely touching it, but just, and that's it. And that's what I'm going to do for all of these leaves. So I'll do a couple more with you, and then I'm going to speed this process up as well. So back in with your Chromium Green Opaque 174. Hard pressure. Slowly easing off as we bring it down, so that it's blending into that. Then May Green 170. Starting from where it started tailoring off from the dark, and then making sure that this is blending, leaving almost a bit of white on the end. Then you're going to go back in with your Chromium Green Opaque 174. Going to go back in with that to just slightly slightly draw that line back in what runs down the centre. And there we go. So I'm going to speed the process of all the other leaves up. Now you're going to do all the leaves on the page. So let me zoom out. So you're going to do this bunch of leaves, and obviously you've got some up here, you've got some here, and you've got some just here. So the same process for all of those leaves, and then come back to me. So I'll see you soon. So that's the leaves done, and we're going to go on to these branches now. So I've picked 2 colours out for the branches, nice and simple again. We're going to go in with a base colour, and then we're going to go in with a slightly darker colour for a little tiny bit of shading, but we're not going to go too detailed with any of this. So I'm going to go in first with the brown ochre 182, and we are just going to base all these tiny branches all in between, really lightly, just a really light coverage. I like to keep things simple where they can be kept simple, as you can tell. So I'm going to go in on all these little bits on this side now. Some little bits up here. So I think that's all of it. I'm just looking at this as well. I think I've missed a bit of the background there. That would be yellow, so I'm just going to go in with my yellow where I've missed. Hopefully you've not missed as many bits as me. So now I'm going to go in with the slightly darker brown. So this one's raw umber 180, and let's bring you in a little bit there. And I'm just going to put a little bit of shadowing in. So maybe do a little bit of a hard pressure and then loosen off in random areas. Very random. I am very random. Just sort of so you've got some dark areas and some light areas. Not bothering if I go over them too much. That's my son playing and shouting. That's that side. And then I'm gonna, let me zoom you out a little bit too far in. I want to get it all on. Then I don't have to keep moving. My son's growling now. will get very noisy up here now, guys. Yeah, running up the stairs. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing very randomly, some dark areas, some lighter areas. So I think that's all the little bits up there. Come down to this little bit and then we'll get the big chunks done. Big chunky ones. Go and zoom you out even more once we get these big ones now. So there is a bit of grayscale in these big ones, so if you just follow that first, so put your darkness where the grayscale bit is. And then just soften around the edges. To apologise for my children banging. Isn't a half term just so much fun? So you can see the nice little effect we're getting here now. It's really soft and delicate. So again, as I've said with all the other sections, you can choose to blend this, or you can choose to keep the texture. That's completely up to you. You decide how you want to do it. So you can see as well, there's a little bit sticking out the top of her hair. I think that's part of her headpiece, some sort of decoration. I might go in with a gel pen on that right at the end, some sort of gold or or pink tone gel pen. So if you was colouring this page by yourself, would you choose these colours that we've chose? Or would you have gone for a totally different colour palette? It's interesting, isn't it, when you're following a colour along? Sometimes it can really take you out of your comfort zone. Because I think sometimes for certain pages you can really be drawn to a certain colour palette. And it might feel strange putting totally different colours down to what's in your mind. I'm going to do this last little bit now. I think I'm definitely going to put a little tiny bit of blending onto this. At the end. There we go. So that's all I'm going to do on that one. So I am going to give it a little bit of a blend, not much, you might not even notice. I'm just going to very gently, I'm not going to smooth it out completely, I'm going to smooth it out a little bit. Because I want some of that texture to stay in. If you want to smooth it out completely, you can do. Smooth out some of these smaller ones a little bit as well. There we go. Zoom you out and have a look at that. Oh yeah, I love that. I'm loving how that's turning out. So I'm going to leave it there for part 4. When I do come back for part 5, the page will be finished, because all we've got left to do is the dragon, a few of the little jewels, a headpiece and her eyebrows, which eyebrows only take 2 minutes to do those. But yeah, so I'm going to leave it there for now. All the pencils I've used in this part will be linked down below, listed down below in the description box. If you want to go and find parts 1 to 3, they will be under my playlists. Just search for Colouralongs. So please do hit that thumbs up button, do drop me a comment down below. Yeah, it really does help the channel. And if you're new here, hello, welcome to the channel, and do please hit that subscribe. Thank you for watching, everyone. See you again soon. Bye.